My name's Ian Cartwright. I've lived in York for 6 years. So my story of depression is it started when I was at work, selling power tools, when I was under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and I was a general manager for a company in Nottingham, and I found that the pressure of new directors just too much and quite intolerable. So I have what I've come to call a depressive meltdown. So I got through that with the help of my GP, was just great, and medication. At that time I didn't have any talking therapy, I just had time off, time to rest and get better, which I did. My second bout then was when I was in ministry. I served in 4 different places. At each one I found that the pressure and the expectation, and also the way that people are treated sometimes, not very good for me. And so again I had these series of bouts of depression, which each one got slowly but surely worse, until such times, in the last one a few years ago, I had a complete meltdown and I found myself off work, having to take early retirement. The best way I can understand or explain what depression feels like to me is when you're in those meltdown places and you've got nowhere to go. It feels like being in a tunnel, like being in a tunnel on a canal, whereby you're just there and it's dark and it feels damp and irritable, and you can't see any light at the end of the tunnel at all. It is just totally darkness, and then slowly but surely you can see a little speck of light at the end, and then that light slowly gets brighter and brighter, and then eventually you come out into a clear picture of daylight, and it's quite nice. You see trees and flowers and towpaths and birds and everything, and you feel like you're in a place of, okay, I'm better now. And that's great, and you float along, and then suddenly you come to a locked gate and you have to sink again. There's no alternative, and you sink down and you just have to wait for the water to rise again and to be lifted up in the lock, in the coldness, the dampness. I can only say that through that time the NHS were brilliant. I had a really good doctor at Dalton Terrace. That she was nothing but helpful as the practice was. I got on the waiting list to have treatment with the HIAP team, and that was good, but I had to wait a long time for that to come around, and I had various sessions, and that was with CBT, which was quite helpful, but still not helpful enough. And that was all the choice was through the NHS, is to wait, get on a course of CBT, go for 12 sessions or whatever, and then be guillotined off at the end. So what I was fortunate and able to do, again with some help from my GP and some good friends, is to have some private treatment, which I did at the Duke Centre at the retreat, which was just wonderful for me, because that was compassion focused therapy, and because what I had to learn as much as anything else, which was to have compassion for myself. It's good to talk, and that's the first place, is to just open up about it. And I can honestly say that I was embarrassed when I was first diagnosed with depression, and several times since. But since I've been able to say, yeah, I'm Ian Cartwright, I was a workaholic and I suffered with depression, that has opened up so many conversations about people who suffer similar circumstances. You're not alone. There are many other people out there who suffer with depression. The second thing then is to listen to your body as much as your mind. If you're working hard and overtime, etc., and making a big contribution, then a work-life balance is really important. And all the things that I've mentioned before is to eat well, get some exercise, talk to people, find something you enjoy, take a break, have a holiday, find good friends, and simply have a balanced life. The NHS is strapped for money, but I can't fault the intention and the care that I had through it all. if resources are going to continue to be so tight, then we need to have more people just simply talking about it, more charities involved about it who have good practices, who we'll be able to signpost to. And so as the NHS can work with other groups to make those things a reality. And so for people who struggle with depression, that the best for folk is always yet to come.